And with that, my working day is done. I shut down my desktop computer, pick up my cell, lock the shared office, it's close to 5 o'clock and I'm the only person still there, and walk down the hallway. I see Lynn near the staircase, we exchange goodbyes, and 2 minutes later I'm out of the building. I mostly commute on foot during the warm months of the year, at least when there's no heavy rain and storm. My apartment is only 2 miles from where I work. I save money and get a helping of fresh air that never fails to feel fantastic after I've been cooped up in my cubicle for 8 hours. Besides, I enjoy seeing and experiencing a sample of the life of the city buzzing around me. It fascinates me endlessly. The traffic on Fillmore Street is pretty busy. A sea of cars and trucks fills the lanes, with the odd brave cyclist thrown in and plenty of pedestrians on the sidewalk. Among the latter is a woman in her very early middle age. She has long auburn hair and beautiful face with freckles and high cheekbones. She is pushing a stroller, and its tiny passenger is looking at the wonders of the world with her mouth agape and eyes wide. A little girl dressed in a denim jacket and a rose-pink baseball cap is holding the woman's hand and walking by her side. The trio is coming towards me at a pace that counts as leisurely by adult standards, to make sure the girl is able to keep up on her short legs. "Mommy?" a little voice asks. "When we get home, can I have an ice cream?" "You had one in the park, sweetie," she replies gently but firmly. "Too much of that is not good for you." "But Mommy, you promised." "Don't be putting words into my mouth now, Amber. I said you could have one if you behaved yourself, and you ate that already, remember?" The girl assumes a crestfallen look. "Okay," she capitulates in a disappointed tone. "That's a good girl," her mother compliments her and smiles. "Are you Mommy's good girl, Amber?" "Yeah." Looking at this sweet scene, it might not cross your mind that the lady has given birth to just one of her girls, the baby in the stroller. The older one didn't even exist until a week ago. It was then that Audrey Matthews learned of her husband's affair with the whore from the PR department of his firm and decided to put an end to it once and for all. Her first thought was to divorce him straight away, but because he had insisted on a prenup and was generally known to be shrewd when it came to finances, that could have left her in an unenviable situation. In addition, she felt sorry for their daughter, and she wanted to spare her from becoming a bone of contention in the bitter dealings that were sure to follow. But then, it occurred to her that she could ask her great-aunt for advice. The aunt, who has a solid reputation as an all-around eccentric, goes around saying she is a witch, to the untold embarrassment of her extended family. She was happy to help, be it that Audrey hadn't really kept in contact with her over the recent years, and she gave her younger relative a powerful talisman that would supposedly grant her revenge. Being the sensible woman she is, Audrey regarded the aunt and her claims with a healthy dose of skepticism, but she reckoned she had little to lose anyway. Audrey confronted her husband the next day. True to form, he again tried to lie his way out of trouble, but this time his pleas fell on deaf ears. Her anger exploded, and she grabbed the talisman to smash it over his head. At the last second, though, she managed to restrain herself, and instead of hitting him with it, she squeezed it in her hand and recited a spell as per her great-aunt's instructions. It's hard to say which one of them was more shocked, the husband or the wife, when a strange purple mist appeared from nowhere, immobilized him and then enveloped his entire body. When it cleared away a little later, it astonishingly revealed an adorable 5-year-old princess where he had been, complete with a tiara in her hair, a white dress, ankle socks and a pair of ballerina slippers on her feet. She looked precisely as if she was baby's older sister, the daughter Audrey and her husband hadn't had. Amber, as Audrey chose to call the latest addition to her little family, remembers being a man, or at least she did in the beginning, but her attempts to put her foot down and demand that Audrey undo the spell came to nothing. She really has no alternative but to do as her adoptive mother tells her to, and the vestiges of her former identity are slipping away little by little as she spends more time in her new form. I'd love to know what the future holds for them and how Audrey explained the disappearance of her husband to his relatives, friends and colleagues, but it's unlikely I'll ever have the full story. She and I are complete strangers, after all, and maybe she hasn't worked everything out yet in the first place. And even if I could in theory introduce myself to her, befriend her, and then slowly try to get her to open up, it's probably best not to go down that road. I hate to think what might happen if she took offense at my prying into her private life and the talisman still had some magical charge left in it. A slight and short boy, hardly older than 20, is loitering outside the old hotel when I get there. He's alternately leaning on the gray granite wall and pacing back and forth, putting in a brave effort at looking calm and cool, but he's too nervous to pull it off. He has on a pair of black leather pants and a biker jacket. The latter is oversized for him, so he's left it unzipped, and it reveals a sliver of shirtless, hairless, skinny chest that goes perfectly with his effeminate facial features, delicate hands and slim legs. He's got 2 silver rings in his left ear, a smaller one in his nose, and his hair is short and bleached almost silver white. He is obviously gay and makes a point to let the world know. He moves his body like a woman, his clothing borders on fetish wear, and he seems to have some mascara on. It's not as if he really needs it, though. You'd think that his big blue eyes and long eyelashes could do the job by themselves. Then again, he has been a male only for a couple of days in his life, all told. He owes his whole existence to a special pill, round and light blue in color, that comes in small glass bottles from a mysterious manufacturer in Central America. Nobody has found out who runs or owns the business, where its headquarters are, what the pill contains and how exactly it does what it does. Criminal and other investigations into that are ongoing behind the scenes but not making much progress. Not even the users of the pill know much about it for certain, except that someone is making them, smuggling them into the country and selling them at an affordable price. You have to know who to ask, but it's not too difficult to get your hands on them. The boy popped a pill around noon today. Once the effect wears out sometime tomorrow, his skin develops an odd greenish sheen, his hair grows suddenly and becomes darker in color, his limbs and torso morph out of shape, and his penis and testicles sink into his abdomen. At the end of this grisly process that could have come straight out of a horror film, he reverts to the shape of an introverted and meek, 30-ish woman called Maureen, who lives with her cat in a cramped, unglamorous apartment downtown and works as a postal office clerk. Although the pills change her looks and body completely and release her from most of the hang-ups that hold back her female self, she doesn't feel ready yet to cross some lines. Exploring sexual attraction to other women is one of these, so she limits herself to becoming an androgynous gay man for the time being. Maybe later, when she has gained enough confidence, she might choose something more masculine as her form and go further. Enter the boyfriend. Another guy in black leather clothing waves from across the street, waits for a break in the traffic, and then dashes up to the boy. A sunny smile spreads onto his face, and the man presses a passionate kiss on his lips. He is a good 10 years older than the boy, much taller and more muscular, and his rugged chin and cheeks sport a carefully styled stubble. Unlike his lover, he wears and fills his biker outfit well, and it doesn't look the least bit comical on him. After they are done with the lip lock, they greet each other. The boy's voice is exactly as I imagined it, gushing, breathy and girlish, and then take off hand in hand, the man walking in steady, purposeful strides and the boy bouncing happily. They are headed in the direction where I came from, and the distance and the engines of the cars soon drown out their words. In any case, I can guess they are talking about their date, where the man is going to take the boy and what they're going to do together. I'm not judging them, and I generally don't mind consenting adult people pursuing the things they want with each other, but I can't help but wonder how the relationship would turn out if the man learned about his partner's secret. If the fellow is not particularly forgiving and open-minded, the fallout might be ugly. Or could it be that he does know? There's no reason why they couldn't both be playing the same game, assuming other personas and seeing how far they can push their boundaries. Some people get to have all the fun. Not that I'd personally want to be in a gay relationship, but anyway. As usual, I take a shortcut through the park. The gravel-topped path that provides the quickest route for me passes by 3 or 4 small benches. From a good 50 yards away, I see and hear that one of them is occupied by a bunch of young women, clearly co-eds from the university. There are 6 of them in total, some sitting on the bench and others standing around, all wearing plenty of makeup and fashionable clothes, babbling excitedly and with cans of drinks in their hands. You don't have to be a psychic to figure out the girls are gearing up for some partying later tonight, killing time together until the clubs open and the fun can begin for real. Apparently acting as the self-appointed leader of the pack and doing a considerable portion of the talking and gesturing is a gorgeous blonde. Her long wavy tresses alone might well qualify her for a starring role in a shampoo commercial, but to sweeten the deal, she has a face that could belong to a small-town beauty pageant winner from the Midwest and a slim body whose chest nonetheless makes the front of her dark blazer bulge out. Her friends have no clue that she's been around and making the scene for several years. She has lots of different faces and names. Sometimes she's an Alyssa or Nikki, at other times a Jessie, Katie or Chelsea, or maybe an Ebony or a Serena. She is the uninhibited, slutty freshman or sophomore who regularly shows up at parties, blends right in though no one can remember for sure having seen her in class, drinks like a sponge, dances with and gropes most males in the room and eventually leaves with her prize, the most sought-after hunk present. She always has the looks to die for, she always dresses well and she unfailingly puts out. As the path slowly takes me closer to the girls, I watch her do her thing and wonder what name she goes by today. Or he, actually the glowing skin of her face and the rest of her sexy little body underneath her clothes is made of latex and silicone, and cocooned snugly inside is John, a person who has the same equipment between his legs as I do. A clever electronic gadget on his throat changes his voice to the dulcet, perky tones of a young woman, tinted contacts in his eyes turn their color from gray to blue, and uncounted hours of practice give him the perfect feminine mannerisms. He keeps abreast with trends, topics and gossip relevant to the student crowd, and he does tireless research to come up with watertight background stories for his personas. The end result is that he can slip into the looks and identity of a made-up but credible college girl at a moment's notice and completely fool anyone, including genuine ones and their horny male counterparts. The girls are too engrossed in their socializing to pay any attention to me, except for one of them, a cute, busty brunette. I only need a quick glance to be able to tell she's the most reserved member of the group, perhaps not entirely at ease in this setting. To wit, she's standing half a pace to the side, mainly just smiling and chuckling or throwing in the odd remark while the others talk, squeal and giggle to their heart's content. When I walk past them, she casts a look at me, touches her neck and pinches it lightly with her fingertips in a kind of absent-minded manner. More likely than not, she doesn't even fully realize what she did, much less than anyone else noticed, but I know what that was about. She made a tiny adjustment to the fit of the ultra-realistic, undetectable female mask that covers the whole of her real head. As it happens, John has a trusted friend called Pete. They have known each other since they were children, they get along superbly well, and they also share the kink of getting off on imagining themselves as attractive women, a fact that once took lots of awkward beating around the bush. Come on, man. It was a joke, to bring out into the open. They went their separate ways after high school, and while John put his energy and spare time and every last penny he could scrape together into developing these masks and bodysuits so he could live out his fantasy, Pete studied, got a steady job, dated a girl or two and did his best to forget about his quirk. After the better part of 2 decades, they reconnected not long ago, and John revealed his hobby and the staggering amount of progress he had made to his buddy. Pete was floored and then privately turned on when John suggested that he should try it too. It would be a piece of cake, John said. All they had to do was make a digital model of Pete's body with a laser scanner, and then they could start designing the girl he wanted to become. John still had a good deal of persuasion to do at that point. It was no mean feat to convince his friend that they could pull it off, and there was nothing in it to be ashamed about, but at long last, Pete agreed. This is now the big night for him, his first proper outing as a girl with his disguised friend. It's hardly a wonder he is feeling a tad jittery, and because he doesn't have John's experience yet, he has no idea how everything will pan out and how far he can go. If I had to make a prediction, though, I would say he's going to learn the ropes pretty fast. I know the type of person he is, Despite the little gaffes and close calls that are par for the course, the chance of getting to be a hot and promiscuous chick is plain too arousing for him to give up. Pete certainly won't lack for motivation to improve his female impersonation skills. The remaining mile of my trek through the town center is a mishmash of everyday sights and sounds, and it goes without incident until I arrive at the main door of the apartment block I currently call home. I pull out the keys, open the door, make straight for the staircase and start climbing the stairs. The elevator looks to be back in working order, but it's the little routine things like this that do a lot for your health in the long run. I get to the third floor landing before I see anyone. This is a woman in her late 60s, svelte and vivacious for her age, with a full head of golden brown hair. Incidentally, she is none other than my landlady, who owns 2 apartments in the building and lives in the other one herself. She's recently retired and divorced, but in good health, evidently, as well as not short on money and other nice things in life despite not flaunting that. "Oh, hi, Thomas," she hails me, and a happy smile comes onto her face. "I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing?" "Hi," I respond and nod. We have technically been on first-name terms for some time, but calling her Corinne instead of Mrs. Carmichael doesn't come naturally for me, and I often shy away from choosing between one and the other if I can. "I'm fine, thanks. Busy with work and that sort of thing." A pause follows, a brief but awkward one. We both try to think of something to say, and in the end, she narrowly beats me to the punch. "The renovation workers did your apartment already, didn't they?" "Oh yeah," I reply. "Last Monday." 4 guys showed up early in the morning as I was leaving for work, and when I got back, they were gone and the new windows and frames were in place. "Did they leave a mess?" "No, not at all. There was some sawdust and other dirt on the floor, the stuff you'd expect, but nothing a quick round of vacuuming wouldn't fix. They must have been careful to cause as little damage as possible." "That's great to hear," she remarks and smiles again. "They're working their way down floor by floor, and they should get to this one by the start of next week. I was worried I might have to pack up everything and take it somewhere else for the duration." "I don't think you do. Just move the furniture away from the windows, cover things up with towels or bed sheets or whatever you have at hand, and it should be all right." "What a relief. I'm so glad." Another pause. "Well, I guess I need to get going," she says. "My daughter is in town with her family. Anyway, it was really nice catching up with you, Thomas." "Don't be a stranger." I smile back at her. "Have a good day." "You too." I steal a glance at her over my shoulder as she begins to descend the stairs behind me. There goes yet another person who's keeping up appearances and hiding an incredible secret. Fact of the matter is, not all of the local classy ladies pass their time running an exclusive dominatrix salon in the basement of this nondescript apartment block. Thanks to the fruits of a highly classified military research project into cell-sized, self-replicating robots originally intended for medical purposes, she and her associates can turn a 6'8", 240-pound quarterback made of pure muscle into a preschooler girl less than half his size in 5 minutes flat, dress him in a pink ruffled skirt, tie his long silky hair in pigtails and make him play with Barbie dolls and then revert the changes equally easily. How the women gained access to the nanites is a complete mystery and will no doubt stay that way. I'm not going to ask her about it, that's for sure, but the bottom line is that they did, and they put the artificial little bugs to good use. Membership in their club is by invitation only, of course, and every prospective client is meticulously vetted before they get in through the door. However, once they do and they cough up the cash, they're offered a bewildering variety of role-play scenarios, from cutesy tea parties to bondage and humiliation to simulated rape. You can ask for absolutely anything your depraved imagination comes up with, and anything goes. Quite a few important and respectable people, mostly men, rich, connected, many of them holding powerful positions in politics or business, have been seen sneaking around the block in the wee hours of the day, but almost no one outside of their circle has the faintest idea why. And presiding over the entire operation and keeping her people on a leash, at times literally, is Mrs. Corinne Carmichael, or Mistress Corinne, as she's universally known by them. She exchanges her matronly skirt and blouse for a black PVC outfit, her tasteful low heels for lace-up boots, grabs her whip and lets loose like there's no tomorrow. My landlady is always pleasant, mild-mannered and sophisticated, but nobody talks back to Mistress Corinne. When she speaks, you shut up and obey her commands to the letter. On a second thought, maybe it's best not to dwell on any of that and put it out of my mind altogether. I might slip during one of these neighborly chats of ours and blurt out something incriminating, or she might realize I am being inexplicably nervous around her and catch on. I don't want her to know that I know, no matter what. I would be in way over my head if I had to tangle with her and her clients. I get to my apartment, take off my jacket and make myself a cup of tea. I feel I've earned a bit of me time, and I want to spend it on unwinding. One of my favorite ways to do that is to sit at the large living room window and take in the city scenery. Even though I have seen the street intersection, the shops and the sidewalks a million times, somehow they're always intriguing and entertaining. I could spend hours just observing the traffic, how random people come and go, letting my imagination run wild and draw little mental pictures of their lives and personalities. There were some heavy clouds gathering in the sky earlier today, but the sun is out again and the movement near my apartment is maybe a little busier than usual. My eyes flit around, picking up and briefly focusing on the pedestrians, stray onto a city bus rolling down the street and then return to the sidewalk. I single out a man, roughly the same age as me. Medium brown hair, wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans, about normal weight but probably not too athletic, walks with a slight limp, fairly unremarkable overall, at least on the outside. He's on the other side of both the crossing and the parallel street, coming this way. Going towards the intersection from where he is now, there is a pawn shop, a pharmacy and finally another unit in the corner. The last one has been empty since the previous business there, a small Thai restaurant, folded last year. Above the entrances to the shops and continuing on to the other side, the building has a flat metal overhang, and you sometimes see people standing underneath that when it's raining. The guy slows down when he gets there, then stops completely and bends over. I'm guessing he noticed his shoelaces are undone, or something, and he's going to fix that. Anyway, what the hell? Seriously. The guy is not there anymore, but a young woman is standing at the exact same spot. Holy shit, I was watching him the whole time, not so much as blinking once, and he changed into another, different person. Am I dreaming or did that happen for real? I rub my eyes and look away momentarily, but that doesn't change anything. The guy is gone and the girl has taken his place. There was no warning of any kind, no wacky light show, no puff of smoke, nothing. 1 millisecond, I see him, and the next, I see her. It's like a simple special effect in old movies where they stop filming, alter something in the frame and then start again. Only this is supposed to be the freaking real world, and I'm watching the street outside my window. The girl looks around herself, adjusts the strap of her purse and gets going as if there was nothing unusual whatsoever. Oh, and for the record, she is hot. She's rocking a shortish plaid skirt, a light jacket and high heels, and when she comes out of the shadow of the overhang and I get a clear view of her face, I notice she resembles a young Jennifer Aniston around the time she was on Friends. No, scratch that, she's practically identical to her and even has the hair to match. Honest to God, that could be a living and breathing, three-dimensional, actually existing Rachel Green on her way to Central Perk right there. She takes the crosswalk and gets to the other side of the street. I follow her with my eyes, crane my neck, get on my feet and lean against the wall to keep her in sight for as long as possible, but she inevitably disappears from view in a few more seconds. My heart is pounding as I try to make sense of what I saw. Who is she and where is she going? Did she change willfully and on purpose? Did somebody do it to her without her permission, or was it a freak accident, a glitch in reality? Will people stop her and demand to know about it, or maybe mistake her for the celebrity whose dead ringer she is and ask her for an autograph? Surely, there have to be other witnesses besides me. Whatever that was, it occurred in front of at least half a dozen people. Should I try to find out more and go after her? Does she remember she was someone else a minute ago? Damn, there's something to think about. If anyone can be transformed like that in broad daylight and totally out of the blue, life might suddenly become pretty interesting. You go out for a walk, and you have no idea who and what you'll be when you come back an hour or two later. By the way, I'm hungry. I really don't feel like running to the grocery store, and I could probably whip up a small meal with yesterday's leftovers and whatever else I have. On the other hand, the fridge was looking kind of empty when I last checked. So, what's a guy to do? Choices, choices. Something to fight the boredom.